Well, hello, YouTube Grill fam. Today, this is yet another episode of Grillin' with a cup of, this is new, 7 Up. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Yes. So good. I'm curious, how are you guys doing? I'd love to hear it in the comments. And as well, if you enjoy what you hear, please leave a like. And maybe, but you don't have to, consider subscribing. But anyway, let's move on. What am I grilling today? Let's talk about that. Here we go. I have 3 flank steaks. Now, the cooking process is most of the way done, so prepare your eyes for the beatific vision you are about to see. Check it. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, look at the beauty and the grandeur. Oh, yeah. I'm about ready to take them off, but I'm just going to flip them one more time before taking them off. And here we go. As far as topics go, I was thinking that today I'd touch on a couple thoughts from Mr. David Dark's book, Life's Too Short to Pretend You're Not Religious, which I haven't finished yet, but it's a phantasmagorical book so far, and I highly recommend it. Although, as is my usual caveat, I am refraining to quote the entire book to you. I am going to quote some small sections. This first bit is from page 41. In the section on the possibility of becoming Christian. He writes, to presume one's own Christianity in this way, and he's basically talking about, well, whether you're kind of looking at a political campaign or around a family dinner table or whatever the context is, and somebody basically says, as a Christian, blah, 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 not to undermine whatever that person says. He says this, to presume one's own Christianity in that kind of way, this way, as a mission accomplished, is to place the cart before the horse. In this, I'm informed by a sensibility I once heard articulated by Maya Angelou, who thought it most fitting to speak in terms of repeated attempts and lifelong practice. Begin quote. I'm grateful to be a practicing Christian. I'm always amazed when people say, I'm a Christian. I think, already? It's an ongoing process. You know, you keep trying and blowing it and trying and blowing it. End quote. Seeking to live up to this wise take on self-identity, I hesitate to call myself a Christian convert unless I can be understood to mean that I'm not yet done converting to and learning again what it might mean to convert to this amazing movement, this centuries-long experiment in humanness, sometimes referred to as Christianity. That was the first passage, and the second passage is a little bit shorter, from page 64. Mr. Dark writes, I like to think of thinking, really thinking, as a party to which everyone is invited. It's a party where we have much to talk about and share, but it also involves being alive to the dangers of not really listening. To the living death, not listening is. As we know, we have to hold our favorite ideas about ourselves and others lightly. We often have to let go to really see, to give way, to allow for the unexpected wisdom of others, to see that we're not seeing. Now, I kind of slowed down there because I wanted to emphasize those last words. Let's think about those two passages for a little bit while I remove a couple of the pieces off the grill. Yeah. Now, notice, if you can, while I'm taking this piece off the grill, I don't know if you can see it, but it's still really kind of sizzling. So even when I put it on this tray, it's still cooking away. So yeah, let's see. What are a couple of things I could say? Okay, how about this? So recently, I've worked on a series of posts with my Deo Patriae Litteris blog. And this latest project has been to try to answer a question that a fellow classmate I had 2 semesters ago in a philosophy class had asked me this past April. It was such a big question, and being the detail-oriented sort of person that I am, I was just like, oh my goodness, that's such a big question, and I feel bad just saying something without giving much thought to it. So I gave it, well, from April until now, in August, amount of time to think and formulate a response. And over this past week, I'd been working, because I've only had one jazz class during the summer, and one job at the San Diego Music Studio, have a couple hours working there. Very solid, awesome job. But I have a lot of free time also. So I thought, I should really work on that response. I feel bad for not getting back to my friend Allie. And so I did. And in this series of posts, I do this one particular post, which I'll put a link in the description. They're done. I'm about to bring them in.
Have they been done?
Not for a long time. They just finished. Yeah. Well, not quite yet. That was my dad. He was asking about the lunch. Yeah, anyway, quick thing. Basically, I made a quotation of this list of religious diversity that Mr. Mike McHarg wrote about in his blog at one point. And then I went through each description one by one and kind of did an edgy thing and said, I can kind of relate to all of those. I can kind of relate to these things that different kinds of atheists and agnostics and agnostics and non-theists and theists and polytheists say. And I was telling my friend Owen about that last night too. And I guess the thing I want to leave you on is, just because I am endeavoring to be a Christian doesn't mean I am finished, as well as Mr. Dark, as well as the flank steaks. I'm not finished grilling. I'm still cooking, and I can relate a lot to the world around me. And I'd like to suggest my suspicion that sometimes we Christians can forget that we're part of a much larger, wonderful world with all sorts of different people who can think in special ways. So whoever you are, I want to suggest that you and your opinions and your thoughts, your convictions do matter. And let's try to work together for an ever better world and an ever better future. And with those thoughts, I hope and pray that you'll have a wonderful day for the rest of your life. Anyway, may the force be with you, and may the odds be ever in your favor. Your friendly neighborhood Christian Dudeist Priest, signing out.